Welcome to Shopify ADA Compliance. This is a series of short videos that takes you through the process of actually making your website accessible so that you, as a website owner, follow best practices for ADA compliance and stop lawsuits and be confident that you are not going to be sued. So the full playlist for this series will be in the description for every video. And again, this is for Shopify store owners. And with that, let's go ahead and start with the first subject, which is lawsuits. So on this first slide, I have an Instagram post, and we have a woman who is in the middle of a room on a pause video. And the caption here reads, "You might think your website is fine, but next thing you know, you're surprised by a demand letter asking for $50,000 because it's not ADA compliant." And I include this Instagram post because it's so important to know that this is real and it's actually happening. And it's not just happening to large corporations. This is happening to small businesses. So the post continues, "Most founders don't realize their website can trigger a lawsuit until they get one. Courts now treat business websites like physical stores under the ADA. If your site isn't accessible to people with disabilities, it can be considered discrimination, and this is happening a lot. Accessibility lawsuits are filed every year against sites missing basics like alt text, keyboard navigation, or captions, including e-commerce and Shopify stores." So this Instagram post is here to make this real and make this tangible. This is happening. So it is so important that you understand how to actually make your Shopify store accessible and take care of those technical accessibility issues. And so let's go ahead and look at two screenshots from a lawsuit. So these are actual excerpts from a complaint filed in court. And I'm not going to read through all of this, but I do want to read through parts just to show you the exact language that you will find in a typical complaint filed in court. So plaintiff brings his civil rights action against the defendant. I've redacted the specific information for its failure to design, construct, maintain, and operate its interactive website to be fully accessible to and independently usable by plaintiff and other blind or visually impaired persons. Defendant's denial of full and equal access to its website and therefore denial of its products and services offered thereby is a violation of plaintiff's rights under the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. So I went through and read the whole thing. This is from a complaint filed in 2026. This has been going on for nearly a decade at this point. So this is nothing new, but I want to show you a complaint fresh from 2026 to show you that this industry is alive and well and very active. All right, so one more screenshot from the complaint filed in court. During plaintiff's visits to the website, the last occurring on February 2nd, 2026, in an attempt to purchase a product from defendant and to view the information on the website, plaintiff encountered multiple access barriers that denied plaintiff a shopping experience similar to that of a sighted person and full and equal access to the goods and services offered to the public and made available to the public, and that denied plaintiff the full enjoyment of the goods and services of the website by being unable to purchase a product. Okay, so serial website accessibility litigation has impacted e-commerce store owners the most. When we are talking to clients, many times it's not just e-commerce store owners, but Shopify store owners have been relentlessly targeted. And so these store owners are being sued because the plaintiffs are alleging the store has accessibility issues, as we just went over, and that those issues are claimed to have prevented access for the plaintiff, and therefore the plaintiff's rights have been violated under the Americans with Disabilities Act. That's what you will read. So most of our clients at accessible.org, most Shopify clients come to us after having received a demand letter or finding out a complaint has been filed against them in court. Many small business owners are completely unaware they could even be sued over website accessibility. And yes, this is even in 2026. So it is so important that you're aware this can happen. But once you are aware of it, then you need to take action, and you need to be very proactive and very aggressive to ensure that you lower your risk and then go ahead and work until you've basically eliminated your risk of being sued. But ideally, optimally, you will come to accessible.org before you've received a demand letter or before a complaint has been filed against you in court, and that way you don't have to pay that unnecessary cost. But if you have been sued, then the way we approach this, the mindset is, let's make sure this is a one and done and it does not happen again, because you definitely can be sued again. And in fact, there have been many store owners and many entities, many different types of organizations who have been sued twice, and even more than that. So especially with the large corporations, we've seen some corporations, and not clients of ours, but we've just seen this in complaints filed in court. They have been sued repeatedly. So, and it's just because you get sued by one plaintiff doesn't mean that you will not be sued by another. So this next slide, I just have the homepage here, the current homepage of the Shopify.com website. So we have the heading here, "Be the Next Unicorn Startup." So it's not, one important takeaway, it's not Shopify itself that's causing the lawsuits. There's nothing inherently wrong with the Shopify platform. It's just that the many e-commerce stores use Shopify to build their website. And so it is so important that you take care of your store. And even if Shopify, your Shopify theme is very important here, it plays a very large part, but there's more to it because there's the customization of your storefront. And we'll talk about themes in a later video. But here I just wanted to point out that it's not it's not Shopify that's the problem. This is happening across so many different industries, and e-commerce stores are just e-commerce is just one of the, let's call it a one of the verticals that's being affected. All right, so continuing on with lawsuits, Title III of the Americans with Disabilities Act covers public places of public accommodation, and courts generally interpret e-commerce stores to be covered under Title III. This is not the case for all courts, but it's enough that some courts are receptive to this. And so because of this, there have been many plaintiffs' law firms that are making they are making a career, career is not the right word, but they are making a fortune just suing people over and over again. So plaintiffs' law firms file complaints in state and federal court, as well as sending demand letters. In fact, you don't know about most of the litigation because most of the litigation is settled privately outside of court. So the best practice for ADA compliance is either WCAG 2.1 AA or 2.2 AA conformance. The reason I have two technical standards here is because really 2.1 should be sufficient, and it provides an excellent level of accessibility. But I have seen in the complaints there are some plaintiffs' law firms who are now moving towards 2.2. 2.2 only adds six additional considerations to 2.1 AA. So think of it as 6 additional technical requirements. But keep in mind here, it's not the web content accessibility guidelines. They're just technical standards. They're not the absolute legal standard. But when clients come to us, they usually go with 2.1 AA or 2.2 AA, and there can be some strategy behind that decision. But the point here is you want to be conformant with at least WCAG 2.1 AA. And so the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, are technical standards that state how to make websites accessible. So we've covered lawsuits. This is the introduction. This is the primer, because so many clients are concerned with being sued. And of course, they want to make their website accessible to people with disabilities, but there's no reason to pay the plaintiffs' law firms to get to this point. So we can help you with WCAG conformance. And throughout the rest of the series, we're going to talk about the process to making your website WCAG conformant, and then what to do after you've reached that point where you've reached the milestone of WCAG conformance. So that will do it for this first video, and we will continue on with the next.